as the technical test score was not long ago. So their data indicates that Lion is currently too strong. He's close to 100% pick rate in Pro League, and his win delta is too high in rank as well. We also have feedback that he's not fun to play against as well, so they're looking to kind of balance him out. So what they're doing is that if you get detected, but then you stop, you will no longer get detected, which is really good. And if you're detected only briefly, it will be much more difficult to actually figure out where you are. I'm guessing that means rather than being a perfect red outline, maybe it'll be far more fuzzier, maybe it'll be more of a general location until you're located for longer. So again, that's going to help you be hidden from. And he's also going to go down from 3 charges of his scan to 2, and the cooldown is going to go from 10 to 20. So it should balance the line out quite a bit. And we'll see how that goes. It's a decent nerf to him. Now, Jaeger's actually getting a buff, although it's indirect. So Jaeger's magpies will no longer destroy Hibana's pellets, which is great, because Hibana's pellets has got 6 shots in total, so if you actually fire them over in the range of all 3 of Jaeger's active defense systems, the actual pellets will all get destroyed and will just waste his active defense system. That will no longer be the case, and this is actually to nerf Hibana because she's too much of a pick, because she's got so much utility. She's such a good operator. She's one of my favourite characters in the game. So they're going to be doing this to nerf her, but also gives a little bit of a buff to Jaeger. And they're also going to be continuing to tweak Blitz. So they know that Blitz is a frustrating enemy to face. So what they're going to be doing is they're just going to reduce his shield flash range from 8 meters to 5 meters. And I know that in game, it sucks already, really, the range of that flash. So that really is, like, 5 meters is bloody close. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that works out for him. He will also have fear charges from 5 to 4 as well. And they say that, you know, the Year 3 Season 1 change for Blitz did bring him back to a closer average kind of pick rate, but his win delta is too high. And of course, that's from the Diamond and Platinum games. So he's just a little bit too good. Now this, I think, is awesome. So Vigil, everyone thought he was going to be rubbish when he first came out. I said, I think he's going to actually be really good if he's used correctly. And apparently, that's the case, because they're nerfing him quite considerably. So his ability will now deplete in 12 seconds rather than 30. So that's more than half the time gone, which is crazy. But it will refill in half the time. So rather than 12 seconds, it'll refill in 6 seconds. So it's just, you know, just a bit of a higher skill curve to use him, which I think is great. And they say following the nerf to Ella, Vigil has risen to the top of the pack and has become one of the strongest roamers in the game. So he's actually replaced Ella, which I think is pretty impressive for him to have done. But they do say we plan to keep an eye on him. And they hint here, right here, weapons in particular. So he might be getting a weapon nerf in the future. We'll have to wait and see. I already think his weapons aren't too great, but the fact he does have 2 for the amount of weapons is a really good utility for him. So we'll see what they're going to do with him. I'm curious. Now Hibana. Poor Hibana. She's losing her claymores and getting breaching charges. I love playing Hibana with claymores, so that sucks for me, but I'll live with it. So she's picked far too often in pro and rank play, and yeah, she's become this critical utility to attackers. So yeah, she's getting a bit of a nerf to kind of try and bring her down to more of the Thermite level, because Thermite they think is still pretty good. So Thermite is going to become the only hard breacher with a claymore. And we expect to swap. And we expect this swap will rebalance their popularity. There may be more changes in the future, but we will keep an eye on the impact this utility change has. So, interesting. Big kind of change in Hibana. They've been trying for a while to get her under control. They nerfed her sidearm not long ago. So, they are trying to figure out how to use her and bring Thermite back up. So, pretty cool. I'm going to start playing Thermite definitely more, so we'll see how that goes. Ying, interesting. interestingly. We are swapping out Ying's smoke grenades for claymores, so the Glaz and Ying combo in the Pro League is no longer going to be happening so much anyway. And she's currently too strong in highly organized groups and too weak in high-level ranked matches. This change, coupled with the LMG changes, will make her a more balanced choice in both contexts. On to the LMG damage. So, this is definitely interesting. Yeah, globally, LMGs are too weak right now. Interesting that this change is coming along just as we're going to be getting a defender who has an LMG next season. So, we made a pass to their damage and normalization. It's against their generally low rate of fire. We will also review their recoil once we have implemented the new recoil system. So, yeah, changes to LMGs. We'll have to see how this plays out, and it could make them much more viable than they were before, so we're just going to have to see. Definitely some interesting changes. You can see that everywhere generally they're going to be getting a little bit more damage. That should make them much more useful. So, now we're on to the current status. Then this is basically going over other operators. They haven't quite changed. Well, they haven't quite figured out how they're going to change it, but they plan to. So Think Up is a little bit too good at the moment. They're going to be looking at her recoil reduction, the speed boost through barbed wire, and health boost. So expect nerfs. Ella is no longer looking to be nerfed. Ella is currently in a much better place. The data indicates that she has an acceptable pick rate and win rate. We do not foresee any more changes being necessary.
Gotta get to the ventilation system.
We'll keep it on her. So she's pretty much escaping any other nerfs. Where she is probably where she's going to stay for now. Now they talk also about unique operator gadgets. Our team learned a lot from our test servers iterations on blessed charges. One of our key takeaways being clarification on priorities. When our operator's core gameplay varies, your typical siege gunplay is pretty difficult to handle balance-wise, with shield operators and glass being the best examples. We will keep trying to make each operator a viable choice. This is the whole idea of this, of having this dedicated balance team that the developers now have, is they want to make every operator they can be somewhat viable. Now we'll see if that actually is the case, because we're going to have to do something with Chanka and Castle to really show that they can actually do this. So we'll see if they can. But we recognise that this cannot be done at the cost of players' enjoyment. So that's always going to be something that the game should be fun to play. So we'll see how this is going to play out. If we see that increasing an operator's pick rate will keep their current mechanics, it's frustrating. We will look for other ways to make changes. There we go. So again, they have a AMA on Reddit. That'll be happening very much after you watch this video. If you watch it any days after that, obviously the AMA is finished, but you can also go to this blog post, click on that link here, and you can go check it out. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I've got a couple of little statistics that I'll put on screen now that devs released a couple of days ago. And thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next time.
Spicy chicken nuggets are back at Burger King. The King's turning up the heat and bringing the spice to these spicy spice.
Hey everybody, Christopher from Varsity Gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Siege School. Today's topic is going to be covering roaming, which for those of you who don't know is leaving the objective to intercept or flank the attacking team as a defender. It's a strategy that sees a lot of play in the higher levels, as having everyone on site is generally a really bad idea. I think I can speak for most of us is that when we all started the game, a lot of us all stayed on site and would never leave. I know back when I got into the beta, everyone would just sit on site, 5 people on site, no one left. Obviously that's not the best strategy, as it is very easy to pick you off as you're hiding on site. For almost every objective, there's too few places to hide, so having 5 people cramped in one area or one room usually leads to pretty easy deaths. All the attacking team has to do is drone you out, know where you are, and shoot you, as you really don't have many other places to hide. So what this means is that your team should have roamers. On the overall, any operator can roam, but the best ones are definitely the ones with 3 speed and 1 armor. The reasoning for this is because they can get around the map very quickly and they make very little noise while doing it. If you've ever tried to run with a 1-speed operator, you can hear them from a mile away. Meanwhile, sprinting as a 3-speed operator does make a lot of noise, but it is much, much less than any 1-speed. And the biggest difference is when you're slow walking. And since slow walking is such a crucial element, that's why it does not work that well when you roam as a 1-speed operator. Slow walking as a 1-speed operator still makes a lot of noise and can still be heard very, very easily. Meanwhile, like I said, a 3-speed operator slow walking is very hard to hear. So even in your quietest state as a 1-speed operator, people are probably going to be able to hear you, which really is not good if you're trying to go for a flank.